Hey, it's Melissa from Kiwi Banana, and today I want to talk to you about some of my top travel essentials. And I've been traveling for just about 4 months while I'm recording this, and I just thought these were some things that you may or may not think of when traveling. And some of them are because maybe you want to cut down on some costs. Some of them could be just sort of minimizing a little bit of the impact of the environment, because traveling can definitely bump up your global footprint. And also some of them could just be because of ease. Now, I try to travel minimalistically if that's possible. I do have a little bit of a dilemma at this current point in time in the fact that pretty much everything I own is in my backpack, because once I finish traveling, I plan on moving and living and starting almost like a new life in a different country. And I have like a box in my mother's house where I've got like some sort of things, just like certificates, important documents, and a few pieces of like corporate clothes for job interviews or stuff like that. So I'll get that sent over once I decided where I'm going to live, where I'm going to settle. But at this point in time, pretty much everything I own is been traveling in my backpack. So I'm not traveling quite as minimalistically as I would like, but I know that some of the pieces that I have are going to be good use for me once I arrive at a destination. Or when you're traveling for quite a long period of time, not just traveling for 2 weeks or 4 weeks, and you want to cut down on costs, sometimes taking a little bit extra can help with that. So I guess I might as well get started. Before I show you physical items that I wanted to sort of recommend that to take with you, and this is like not an exhaustive, this is not the full list, and some of these might not work well for you, and sometimes it can depend on climate and where you're going. But I wanted to recommend, like, if you are vegan, then the Happy Cow app could be a good one to download. And sometimes you can find, if you're in a particular location, you could look up on the internet and there might be a blog or a YouTuber or an Instagrammer, or there might be something on TripAdvisor that might advise on some places to eat at or whatever. And also I wanted to recommend, if you're going to a country that does not speak a language that you're very familiar with, or you just feel like you're not very confident in speaking it, then I download the Google Translate app. That works fine even without internet connection. It won't speak to you, and you won't be able to speak into it without an internet connection, but you can write in words and that translates pretty good. So I would recommend downloading that. And the other thing that I would recommend downloading is, actually not downloading, but if you think you might be going to some places where you need to remember information, you're not really into writing it down, but you might not have internet access, is screenshotting. So if you can figure out how to do that on your phone. Those are just some 3 recommendations, sort of technology recommendations I could give you. Not sponsored by any of this sort of stuff that I'm about to recommend. It's just something, genuine sharing on. Right, that's a long enough introduction. Wow, let's get into it. So the first thing I want to recommend is, especially if you're going to be going to warmer climates, is something like a sarong. Now, it's not necessarily for a fashion purpose. This was like an old Christmas gift that I got given from a company that I worked for years and years ago. And I've had it sitting in my wardrobe, never used it until now. So I will use it. You can use it maybe instead of a towel on a beach. You could use it instead of a towel when you need to dry, if you need to dry yourself. I guess if you've got washing that needs to be done and you haven't got a lot left to wear, has multi-uses out of that. You could maybe even fold it up a few times, depending on how big it is, and maybe even use it as a blanket. If you don't have a sun hat, you could use it as some sort of sun protection. And I guess sometimes if I don't really feel like I really want to get dressed into many clothes and I'm not really leaving the place that I'm at, I would just pop this on with my underwear underneath, and it's something easy to wear. So that's why I recommend a sarong. And also it can fold up really small. It doesn't take up too much space. This is a really, really large one. So I can probably get it smaller than that. Next thing moving on is another sort of thing, possibly weather dependent as well. So you might find you'll use this more in colder climates, but this thing, we call it a buff in New Zealand, but that's kind of like the brand that it is. You might be able to get something similar. You might even be able to make something like this. So it's basically a piece of material with a hole at one end and a hole at the other. And I found them really good for like if it's cold, maybe if you need some protection, some air protection, maybe you're going somewhere where the air quality is not very good, or I use it at Burning Man sometimes because it can get really dusty and you don't want that stuff in your mouth. So you can really just wear it like that, or you might even find some use for it wearing it on your head, just whatever. It can be worn multiple ways, and I found it really quite handy. And once again, you know, it folds out really small. Maybe even use it as a face cloth, just whatever, you know. When you're traveling on a, you know, reasonably tight budget, or you're traveling for a long period of time, you start getting kind of inventive in these things. You want to look at something as just more than having one use. Now another tip is having a needle, and if you don't want thread, you could even just use floss. So I haven't actually got a needle at the moment, but say something breaks, maybe a strap on your bag or something like that, you can just sort of quickly sew it up, and so that you don't have to buy a new replacement or something like that. Maybe you're in a place that you can't even get that thing replaced, you know, or maybe you want to wait a couple of months before you've got a job again to buy a new thing for it or whatever. It just makes you know, you can get more use out of things when they rip or break. So yeah, that, and then normally, you know, you can use floss for flossing your teeth, and you could probably just pop a, you know, a pin. This is Cardboard, this one. It's a really good brand, not sponsored, but you know, it's vegan and it's pretty eco-friendly, so I definitely recommend this brand. But yeah, you know, I could just probably pop the pin in the top there and it would probably stay in there. So yeah, it's another multi-use thing again. Now the next thing I want to talk about, some of you may think it's a bit silly, but I quite like it. I mean, I already had this because I would go running, and if it's winter in the morning, it's absolutely dark, and I'd go running out in the country and stuff. So having a headlight can be really handy, especially if you're going to be out late or something. Just take it along with you, and depending on where you are, you might be in an area that's not very well lit up. Maybe you're out in nature and there's not going to be like man-made lights, or maybe like I'm in a hospital at the moment. Well, they're lucky enough I'm not sharing this room with anybody. You know, maybe I want to do some reading or something at night, but I don't want to, you know, switch the light on and annoy everyone, but you know, a light. And I found it really handy at Burning Man because you need to be lit up. Right, another one, it's kind of silly, but pegs. Never underestimate what a peg can do. I'd maybe just take a couple. We could just take one. Maybe you've got some food that you've been cooking and you need to seal the bag up. Maybe you've got, you know, you've done a bit of hand washing in the basin or whatever, and you just need to hang up a t-shirt or a pair of socks or something like that. You know, you've got a peg, because sometimes you go to places and they don't have pegs, and that can be really annoying as well. And they don't take up too much space. Another thing is a mask. Now, this may not be essential for everybody, but I've been using them for years and years, so I've gotten really used to them, and they are handy when you're traveling. Maybe if you're on some sort of transport, maybe you want to sleep not just necessarily at night, or maybe you're sleeping in an area where all the lights and stuff are on and you want to go to bed but not everyone else's. So these can be really handy for blocking out light. Another essential, I guess it's pretty self-explanatory, but a notepad and pen. I know some of you are probably more likely to use your technology, and that's fine. However, I find sometimes a notebook and a pen, especially when I'm, you know, not in a place where I've got my phone or there's no connection or something, or maybe I wanted to write down some details, and you know, you can get one even smaller than this probably, and you know, pen's always needed really. This one is, you know, if you can find them, I don't really know. I got given this as a Christmas gift for another company that I worked for so many years ago, and basically it's like a solar charger. It's got I could put my phone into it, and if you're in sunlight, it will charge your phone too. It's, you know, it's not super fast or whatever, but if you can get something like compact, probably get them even smaller than this, it can be handy, especially in a situation where there's no electricity for a while, but you still need more battery power on your phone. I don't know if you can get them smaller than this and maybe use them for other electronic devices, maybe even laptops. you could look into that. I don't know how expensive or they are, because it was a gift. This one is probably, yeah, other than the eye mask that gets used every night, this here. Now, I'm not sponsored by these guys or whatever, but we call them satchels in New Zealand. I'm not sure what they're called in other countries, but basically you fill up your water and then you can drink it through this. And I find them a lot less bulky than a drink bottle. Like, I do have a drink bottle, you know, and I find that can be quite bulky sometimes. And I just found these things really handy. Now they can break quite easily, so you will need to be careful, and sometimes you can buy ones where they come with extra mouthpieces. The white one there is broken off, but I just found it really handy because it fits a lot better in a backpack, and you can normally fit, you know, sometimes it's like 2 litres in a lot of them, which can, for most people, it's like more than what their daily recommended, their daily intake of water. For me, I drink more than that, but I still find it's really handy. Yeah, and you can get ones that are smaller than this. This one just comes with a bit of a perk. It's got like a pack in the back that keeps stuff cold, but it's not necessarily essential. It's just what come with it when I went to buy one. Now this one is a container. Now you don't have to take a container, and I know you can buy containers that compress down a lot smaller, but I find it really handy for saving money for food. So if I'm cooking a lot of my own food and I don't want to have to go out and buy something at a cafe or restaurant or whatever, and I know I'm going to be hungry later when I'm out, I just put food in there and just take it with me. Now when I'm not using it for food, I can stuff heaps of stuff on it and then still fit it in my bag, or like I said, you might be able to buy one of those collapsible containers and then it makes it smaller. And to go with that, I have bought some. These are like compostable, recycled, they're forks made out of recycled material and they're compostable or whatever. Some sort of cutlery, so to take with you if you're going to be making a lot of your own food. It's really handy. And sometimes even when you go to food places, depending on where you're in the world and where you go, they might not even have things for you to eat your food with. You know, eating food with your hands and your fingers is fine, but if you want a piece of cutlery they don't have any, well, there we go. And it also means, you know, if you're washing it, you can reduce your use of plastic utensils. If they were going to give you one, just say, oh, no, I've got this one here, and I find this one's actually a lot sturdier and a lot better than the normal ones that you would be given. Now, this is, I don't actually know the name of these things, but these here, bringing even just one of these, I found is really handy. For bound to clip onto things. You might find that you use it to clip onto your bag. I know I can clip my drink bottle onto it, and they're not very big either, so something like that. You can get them in various sizes as well. I find it really handy, and I just have it on my wee little satchel that I wear, you know, around my waist. Now next one, basically I guess people would call them shopping bags. So they fold up, you know, you can get them ones that fold up even more than this. This is a little bit thick, I think, because it's made out of the cotton material. But those I find are really handy for when I go grocery shopping and get fruits and vegetables. And if I want to minimize my plastic bag use as well, it's really handy just to, even if you just take one of these with you, you know, if you're wanting to reduce your plastic use, then these can be really handy. And the last one I want to talk about is one of these, excuse my dirty washing. So it's basically a washing bag, and I find it really handy so I can separate my dirty clothes from my clean clothes. And it's, you know, they're not all getting mixed up with each other when they're in the bag. And they fold up really small as well if you're not needing it, or you could even use them to maybe put your dirty shoes in or something like that. It's just another bag has some sort of use to it. So that's basically my list that I wanted to give you. You know, some of these you might look at it and go, oh, what do I need that for? That's irrelevant, or maybe not. And you know, it is going to depend on where you go, how long you're traveling, what kind of traveler you are. I mean, some people, you know, if something broke, they wouldn't dare thinking of trying to fix it. Like, oh my God, I can't walk around with a bag with a broken strap. I have to buy a new one. And that's a different way of thinking, I guess. And for others, you know, these tips are really, oh, I nearly forgot. Toilet paper. So I've had this plastic bag for ages, but also packing some toilet paper with you, even just within, when you're going out day by day, just packing a little bit of toilet paper with you, because sometimes you go to places and there is no toilet paper, and if you're not in a country where they use a water gun, there's not really anything else you can do to clean yourself. And I don't know, something, you might spill something on you, whatever. So it can be handy, and you can get more environmentally friendly ones than this. You know, and you don't have to carry it in a plastic bag like I have. It was just what I had at the time, and I thought I would continue to reuse it. So yeah, this is my list. It's quite long, and I hope you've been able to get through all of it, and you know, I hope there's something in there that will be of some use to you. These things have all been pretty handy for me. I haven't had to use this as any sort of stitching or anything yet. That's why I haven't bought a needle, but I know of this tip, and that's why I wanted to share that one. So yeah, this is my travel tips. I don't know, things to buy, things to get, things that you have and should maybe take with you when you're traveling. Yeah, and let me know if you want me to do any more travel tip videos. I'm more than happy to dedicate some time into providing you with this sort of information. And you know, sometimes it's stuff that you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense, or oh yeah, I've already thought of that. But it's just, you know, sharing information, and it can make your travels a lot easier too. So that is it for now. I will see you in the next video.